Hey guys, Capone UGW. In this video, I have something that I've been working on for quite a while. In this video, we are going to be releasing the builds I use for TU15 on the Division 2. So with that being said, let's get started. So guys, welcome to the first build that we have here. So for the first build is going to be a PvP build, which is Vigilance and Spotter. Now, as you guys know, we are running the Heartbreaker assault rifle with flatline. Now, you guys want to run both guns with flatline. For the secondary, we are running the Carbine 7 on this build. So yeah, that is the guns that we are running. Now, let's move on to the pieces. So we have a Grupo with Vigilance. As you guys know, you guys just want to stack as much crit damage as possible on this build. And yeah, crit damage, crit chance on all of your pieces. Now, the Coyote's mask is going to be what gives you damage and your team. And we have Spotter. Spotter chest piece with Fenris. You guys want to run a Fenris just to get that additional bonus damage from the assault rifle. So that's why we are running it like this. Now, you guys can run it any other way you want. The pieces really don't matter. You need one piece of Seska on this build just to get some extra crit chance out. Now, since we are running the Coyotes, you guys need to be around 49 to 50% chance. You don't want to be maxed out on crit chance, because if you do, as some of you guys may not know this, but if you are at 60% chance with the Coyote's mask will drop the chance down to 50. So you will lose damage. It's better to have it on 49 and just get that extra damage from Coyotes. So we are running the shield and the scanner pulse. As you guys know, we do have 61% multiplicative damage on this build. We have 20% from flatline. As you guys can see, 20% to pulse enemies. And we have damage to armor. We have the contractor's gloves. We have damage to armor on there. And as you guys can see, we have the Spotter chest, which gives us another 15. So if you guys calculate the Heartbreaker, the chest piece, the contractors, and fox prayers, we do have a total of 61% multiplicative damage, and that is huge because we are going to hit like a truck on this build. And there you go. So with that being said, let's now show you guys what this build can do. So let's go over the pieces again. We have contractors, fox prayers, we have a Grupo, we have Coyotes, we have a Fenris, and we have a Seska on this build. So now let's go show you guys what the damage numbers are. So let's set this to Elite. There you go. Let's reload. Let's put it to 5 meters, guys. Look at that. The damage is insane, guys. We're hitting for 1,000,000 to the head. 941, guys. 941 and 1,000,000 to the head. I'll show you guys again. 749k. So yeah, guys. That is my Spotter PvP build. Hey, guys. So this next build is, as you guys know, the Heartbreaker Metal build. So let's get started. So for this build, we do have the Technician Specialization. You guys want to run this for that linked laser pointer. Now, we are going to be using the linked laser pointer because of the shotgun, the ACS-12 shotgun. As you guys know, shotgun damage, damage to armor, damage to attack cover is going to be the best attribute that you can run for this build. And of course, we are running it with flatline. Amplifies weapon damage by 15% to pulsed enemies. Same thing goes for the Heartbreaker. The only difference is it's 20% as opposed to 15%. So we might hit a little hard with the Kingbreaker assault rifle. So let's talk about what makes this build hit really hard. Flatline. When you guys get your stacks from the shotgun, you guys will switch to your AR and go to work. Now the ACS-12 is the bread and butter on this build. Besides the ACS-12, what gives you guys the most damage on this build too is the Catharsis Mask. The Catharsis Mask, I'm sure you guys know what it does already, but what it does, for those who don't know, is when you take damage, the more damage you take, the more damage you deal out. So that is bread and butter on this build, because if you have NPCs shooting you constantly, you will get that Catharsis Mask. Now you can run this setup also in PvP. I have been doing it just to test it out, but yeah. So we are running the 4-piece Heartbreaker. You guys want to run the backpack. The backpack is what is going to increase the armor and damage on this build. Now the armor, you guys can run this many ways. You guys can run a Seska, you guys can run a Grupo. It does not matter what you guys run. It's up all preference. So we are running the chest piece. The reason for that is because of the talent. Increases max stacks from Heartstopper from 50 to 100. That's what's going to give you guys the most damage on this build. That's why on this build, you need to run the Link Laser Pointer, because we are not running Spotter. So that's why the chest piece is the best. So we have the holster with chance and the knee pads with chance. And we have a Grupo gloves. Now on the gloves, you guys can run damage to armor. You guys can run contractors. This should get some more multiplicative damage out. But I prefer putting a Grupo on there, because we already maxed at 60% chance, and at that point you might as well just try to get as much crit damage as possible on the build. So that's why I went with a Grupo glove. Now the ACS is the best gun to use to stack up armor. It's going to do many things to you. So let's come here. Pulse that. Okay guys, so for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason I was not getting the stacks here, and this is just a bug. I was literally inspecting why I did not get the stacks, but it's just a bug that's, with the division, anything is capable at this point. So what I did was I took out the Link Laser Pointer and I put it back on, and then it worked. Let's reload, and there you go. Now we have the stacks. There you guys go. That is the full stacks. When you are at full stacks, you can easily in PvP switch to your AR and just tank. We're hitting for 708 on this build. 1 million to the head, guys. Let me show you guys again. 1 million to the head. So this build is OP. Now let me show you guys the buff with the Catharsis Mask. There you go.
Vital signs critical.
I messed it up there, guys. Sorry. Let's build it back up. Let's build it back up. There you go. So let's get rid of that NPC and let's go back to stacking armor. So I'm already at full armor, guys. If you pop a kit, you'll see what I mean. Let's pop a kit. Boom. You can just start tanking. 1.1 we hit there, guys. 1.1 million. 1.189 mil. So guys, that is my Heartbreaker build for PvP and for PvE. So this build is a skill build. Now let's get started. So for this build, we are running the Technician Specialization on this build for that extra skill damage. So we have, for the primary gun, we are running the Capacitor. The Capacitor is going to be the bread and butter on this build, and here's why. So guys, now that officially testing, I can personally say myself that I advocate running 3-piece efficiency. After testing it the right way, I can now say that three-piece efficiency, is viable when it comes to a skill build. So this is the way I have it set up. So the TKB, or the Kingbreaker I should say, will be the secondary, and the pistol is just whatever. So we are running the 2-piece Hana U on this build. The reason why we're not running Wyvern on this build or Empress is because of the waveform. The waveform will substitute the damage with the Wyvern. So we have glass cannon and combined arms on this build. Now, you guys want to run glass cannon on this build. The waveform is going to substitute the damage for the Wyvern holster. Now, I'm saying that because I have tested it myself. You would get more damage from the waveform holster than you would from a Wyvern holster. And what waveform does, in 10 seconds, it stacks the damage from one skill to another. And it does it every 10 seconds. So the more stacks you get on that skill, the more damage you'll put out. And you having glass cannon, it will hit much harder. Now, you guys can use kinetic momentum on this build, but I prefer not to, because you have to wait for kinetic momentum to stack up the damage. And of course, you guys want to get as much damage as possible. So that's why we're running 2-piece Hano, 2-piece Hano, and 3-piece Empress on this build. So for this build, we are going with the assault turret. We are going with the assault turret on this build. Combined arms. Here's why. Shooting an enemy increases skill damage by 25%. So, and glass cannon is all damage you deal is amplified by 25%. All damage you take is amplified by 50. So that's important on this build, guys. That's very important. So let's get on with the skills now, shall we? So we have the assault turret and the artificial hive. Now, I prefer using the artificial hive because just to get some extra damage out there, and for me personally, the drone just does not have that damage for me, which is why I'm running the artificial hive on the build. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So let's put this on very hard. There you go, it's on very hard. Let's reset that. Let's put our artificer on there. There you go. Now let's start shooting. So 297 is at full stacks what we get. So 328, 264, 268, 269. 344. So in order to get the 344 damage, you must have the artificer hive, the turret, and you must keep shooting your NPCs. So guys, that is my build for PvE with Legendary. So this next build, guys, is a explosive build. Now we are running a mortar on this. This is a mortar build, guys. So for this build, we are running the Demolitionist specialization for that extra 10% explosive damage. Now, you want to get as much explosive damage on this build as possible. So this is how it's going to work. You get 10% from Demolitionist. So for the main gun is the capacitor. For the secondary, we have a Black Market AKM with Sadist. Now, the reason why I have Sadist on here is because when I put them on a status and on a bleed, I do have that Sadist gun just to get out more additional bleed damage so the NPCs would die quicker. But for the most part, you guys are not going to need it. So for this build, like I said, from the last skill build that I just showed you guys, we are running 2-piece Hano U in here. And we are running the strategic alignment China Light backpack with with perfect shock and all. So this is the build. So 2-piece Hano U and 2-piece Grupo. And the waveform and the backpack is a China Light strategic alignment backpack. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, this is the build. So I finally ended up getting the 2-piece Grupo for that extra 15% skill damage. That's very important. Now on this build, you guys must stack as much crit chance and not crit chance, sorry, I'm so tired, guys. You must stack as much skill damage and skill haste as possible on this build. Now the waveform is going to once again increase your damage on the build. So this is the mortar build. So now let's get on why you need to run the 2-piece Grupo. The reason why you want to run 2-piece Grupo is for that extra 15% explosive damage. On this build with the specialization, we have 40% explosive damage. That's going to do a lot. Now, unfortunately, I ended up getting gloves with status effects on them. I wish it was skill damage more, because then I would hit a little bit harder, but that's okay. So that is the build, guys. That's basically how I have mine set up. Now, you guys can run 3-piece Empress on this build, 1-piece 3-piece Empress on this build, 1-piece China Light, and you can run 2-piece Grupo on this build. But I like it the way I have it set up here, so this is how I am running it. So for the skills, we have a artillery turret or a mortar turret, however you guys want to call it. And yeah, now the artillery turret, you guys need to run Demolitionist to get it. Now, for the secondary, I am running a Bulwark Shield. The reason why is because I like to play aggressively. I do play aggressive when I'm on my mortar, believe it or not. I just whip out my Bulwark Shield and I put the mortar down and I let the mortar do all the work. And that's it. So that's basically the build. And now let me show you what it does. So let's go here. It's very hard. Let's just set that. Let's put that. It's a 2-shot mortar build, guys. 2 shots. So, yep. There you go. We have the 2-shot mortar build. Let's stack up the damage again. Let's do that. Boom. We have 105. Let's stack it up again. It's 2 shots, guys. 2 shots. Stack up the damage once more. Let's go. Hitting for 117 bleed damage. Look at that. Look at that damage, guys. This is what I basically use to farm Summit Floor 10 as well. It's just the most easiest and painful way of doing it. So yeah, guys, this is my PvE mortar build. So, as always, let's move on to the next one. So, for this next one, guys, this is a medic build. Medic DPS outgoing build. So, technician specialization, of course. We are running the Scorpio. Now, we are running the Scorpio because of the backpack. The backpack is what's going to make the Scorpio great. For the secondary, we have a shotgun with Optimist on it. Sorry, guys. So, the backpack is a Yuzina Getka backpack with repair skills, skill haste, and repair skills mod. Now, I'm running perfectly opportunistic on this build. The reason why is because every time I give you guys that perfect opportunistic buff, your skills and weapon damage will increase. So not only am I giving you an extra 15% from 4-piece Future Initiative, but I'm also giving you an additional damage and overcharge at the same time with Opportunistic and the BTSU gloves. Now, I was testing out Empathic Resolve with Opportunistic. The heals were not there for me. So that's why I'm going with the chest piece. This is the build, officially. Now, see, the more repair skills you have on this build, the more skill and build and the more heals you guys will have. So, that's why I'm running this. So, this is the build. So, we got 4-piece Future Initiative. As you guys know, you guys want to stack as much repair skills as possible in this build. And you guys have the BTSU gloves and Perfect Opportunistic to get that extra damage out to your team's skills and weapon damage. So that's why I'm running it like this. And before I continue with this build video, shout out to Off Consulate 9 for for basically showing me this and how it works. If you guys don't know who Of Constantly 9 is, I will put his video and his link in the description below. So yeah, let's move on. We got the BTS U gloves. The BTS U gloves are the best thing that you can put on this build. And for that reason, because you're running perfectly opportunistic. Not only are you getting damage out to your allies' skills and weapon damage, but the BTS U gloves offers overcharge, which gives the team more damage and their skills back with overcharge. That is very important. This is why I love running this version of the medic support build. So that's where the Scorpio comes into play. That's the best. Scorpio is one of the best shotguns in the game. So for the skills, we have a Hive and a Chem Shot. Now, of course, the Hive and Chem Shot will be the skills that we use for this. So yeah, let's look at the skills. So we have 4.2 million health on the Hive. And 1.5% ally repair. Now you guys will get, to increase your heals more, put on Safeguard. Safeguard is going to be what's going to increase it more. But I'm going with weapon damage and support. Those are the heals. So, for some reason, guys, the heals are better when you are playing Summit or playing any other mode and testing it out in the modes. Now, I do love this build. This build is awesome. I love it like this. I've been running it like this for quite a while now. And yeah, it's because of Constantly 9 that I'm running it this way. So, there you guys go. Every time you guys shoot, you guys will always get that buff. And the heals are amazing on this build too. So that is my PvP PvE medic healer build. Hey guys, so this build is a PvP assault rifle build. And guys, I love this build a lot. So for this build, we are running the firewall specializations for two reasons: for that mech hit and for that extra damage on the shield. Now, as you guys know, this was primarily my build that I ran in TU15 with In Sync. Now, I found probably the best way to proc In Sync, and that's with the drone. But I also found a way how to increase the damage on the build, and that's with the Catharsis Mask. The Catharsis Mask on this build is ridiculously strong, which is why I am running the Catharsis Mask on this build. So we have the drone. The drone is going to be what procs In Sync now. What I like about the drone is when you bring up the drone, it automatically sees an enemy and shoots it on its own. So you do not have to always press LB for the drone to shoot a NPC or an opponent. So we are running both guns with In Sync as well. Now the FAL is the best hands down gun for damage, but we are running the FAMAS still. So it's Vigilance with Unbreakable, of course. The build is entirely the same. The only difference is I put on the Catharsis Mask on this build, and kid you not, guys, this freaking build just shreds with the Catharsis Mask. Now, I will show you guys, I'll put in a little footage of gameplay on this because not a lot of people are going to believe me that this build just shreds with the Catharsis Mask. So that's why I'm going to leave a little clip at the end of this build to show you guys what I'm talking about on this build. So we have a Grupo, we have Foxes, we have Contractors, we have basically every piece of gear that a normal DPS would have. FAMAS, we have the FAL, we have a lot of things into play on this build. The biggest thing is the Catharsis Mask and In Sync. So that's basically the build. And now let's just show you guys what this build can do in the shooting range. So like I said, the Catharsis, for most of you guys who don't know what it does, gives you damage as you take damage. And we just have a pistol that we're not really going to worry about on this build. So yeah. that is pretty much the build. And for the secondary, we are going to be running the Crusader Shield. The Crusader Shield is going to be the factor that's going to get the damage out as well. So let's go inside the shooting range. Let's put this to Elite. Let's put it to 5 meters. So that's in sync. That's just 15%. That's not with me having the extra 30. There you go. So we're hitting for about 360 to 404. In PvP, this build hits like a truck, guys. And I'm going to show you guys Eclipse, just like I said before. So let's stack the Catharsis. Let's pop this kit.
Serious trauma detected.
There you go. So, there you go. The damage is amazing with the Catharsis mask on this build. This is what I've been running in group play for the last couple of days, honestly. So, that is the PvP Catharsis Unbreakable build. So, let me guys show you the footage.
Allied agent now rogue. Rogue striker drone detected. Rogue defender drone detected. Detonated gear detected.
So, guys, this next build is quite honestly also one of my favorites. We have the Dread Edict Focus build. Now, for this build, we are running the Sharpshooter Specialization. You guys want to run the Sharpshooter Specialization for that extra 10% headshot damage. Now, that's crucial on this build. So, now that the Dread Edict works with Focus, the Dread Edict is the hardest hitting sniper and honestly the best in the game. Now that it works with Focus. So, yeah. What I cannot stress this enough, guys. The Dread Edict gun is fucking insane. Hits like a truck. At full stacks, we're hitting for about 5 to almost 6 million damage. That's a lot. Now, you guys can go with aces and eights or use the same brand sets and stack headshot damage. But me personally, I love it like this. And this build is just a monster. So, as you guys know, we have the Dread Edict and we have Perfect Focus. Perfect Focus is what's going to give you guys the most damage possible on this build. Now, you guys can go with Glass Cannon, but with Glass Cannon, the reason why I do not recommend Glass Cannon is because the damage, you will get hit hard. You won't have as much survivability as you will with just Focus. So, we are running 1.1 million on this build just to have a little bit survivability. Now, you guys can be cheesy with it and corner peek with this build because this build just slaps. But I wouldn't do it, but that's just me. We have 54 chance and 156 crit damage. We don't need that though. So what we're going to do is put more crit damage on this build. So let's get a crit damage mod. Let's get nope, not that one. Let's get, yeah, there you go. We're at 167 crit damage. And like I said, if you guys are running Coyotes, you want to be at 49 to 50% chance. So yeah. So for the skills, we are running the drone and the striker shield. And the shield, sorry, not the striker one, because we're not running firewall. We are running the shield on the build. Now that's going to be a big factor. Now, the FAMAS. Oh my god, guys. The FAMAS with full stacks on this build fucking melts. Well, I know we have no brand bonuses for ARs, but it smacks. So, let's look at this now. Let's put this on Elite. Let's put it for 10 meters. So, let's just wait for the stacks on Focus to build up. There you go. Let's just wait. So with just focus, we're hitting for about 3.7. That's without having the Dread Edit buffs. As we get the buff, we get the more damage. We're hitting for 4.9 already. 4.9 damage. 5.54. 5 million plus damage, guys. It's a 2-shot to 3-shot build. And on the chest, it's about 4 shots. So this build smacks, guys, as you guys can see. It's about 4 to 5 shots on the body. And look at that. When you reload, you get armor, guys. You get freaking armor. This is why Focus is one of my favorite builds to run right now. There we go. 5.4. Just imagine if you guys had headshot damage on this build, guys. Let's shoot the body. Boom. Bonus armor. So that's why the Dread Addict is the best sniper now. So yeah, guys, that is my PvE and PvP Dread Addict Sniper Marksman Rifle build. Hey guys, so this next build is everyone asking me to make this build. And now that it works, I have it for you guys. So this is a pulse resistance build. We have the Technician Specialization. And of course, the Kingbreaker and the FAL with both flatline on here. So, as you guys know, this build right here is going to be the build that counters the Heartbreaker gear set. So, we are running 3-piece Y'all on here. With a Seska, with Foxes, and a Grupo. Now, guys, let me tell you guys the way to get the Y'all pieces. So, unfortunately, Y'all pieces only drop in the Dark Zone. If you guys are looking to get the Y'all pieces, you guys will not be able to get it if you guys do not play DZ. You guys need to get somewhat of decent rolls from what I got. I was lucky enough to get the 3 pieces that I needed. Unfortunately, on my mask, though, we don't have chance. We have explosive resistance, but that's okay because we still slap with this build. So, this is the pulse resistance build. Now, of course, I only use the pulse resistance build in the DZ when I have a 4-man using Heartbreaker. It's not worth running pulse resistance if you only have 2 people or 1 person running it in the DZ. So, we have the Kingbreaker and the FAL. Those are going to be the 2 primary guns that we use when it comes to pulse resistance. So, the Fox prayers, you guys are going to have some multiplicative damage on this build. Not too much, but enough to hit really hard. So the multiplicative damage is going to come from the Kingbreaker, the chest piece, and the knee pads. As all of you guys may know. For the skills, we have a drone and a decoy. Now, the decoy is a big problem when it comes to this build. Now, I'm not going to be using the decoy just now because you can still, if a player is fighting you, he's still able to get the Heartbreaker stacks. So that's why I'm not running it. So we have 104 weapon damage with 41% weapon damage, PV 55 chance, 137 damage. Now watch the pulse resistance, guys. Pulse resistance is 109%. Guys, me and Off constantly tested this. If you guys do not have over 100%, not 99.9, if you guys are not over 100% pulse resistance, the Heartbreaker will still get stacks off you. Meaning, if you're fighting a player with 99% pulse resistance, he will get stacks. You must be over 100 to get for Heartbreaker not to work. So, let's show you the damage. Let's take out that NPC. Let's set the numbers. 504 crit, guys. That's 504 critical hit damage on this build. And this is a pulse resistance build. 504, guys. 504 with the TKB. Or the Kingbreaker, I should say. So, that is my pulse resistance build. So, if you guys don't have it, get to the DZ and farm, guys. So, for the next one, we have a PvE status effects Eclipse protocol build. Let's get started. So, Technician Specialization is what we are going to be running. Now, you guys want to run the Technician Specialization just for that extra percent skill damage. Now, the capacitor is going to be our primary gun, and our secondary, you guys need to run a gun with damage to armor. Both guns might still have to have damage to armor on it. Now, I have mine with perpetration just to get that extra additional damage out. Now, this gun, you guys want to put damage to armor on it because, as you guys know, status effects, damage to armor does increase status effects. So that's why you guys must run damage to armor. So I do not know why my knee pads are not maxed. I'm 100% sure I have a 10% status effect attribute out of my recalibration library, but I don't know, guys. So we have the holster, the wyvern, and the mask with Golan. Now, I'm not running the vial mask on this build because that's just my preference. You guys can run the vial mask, as it will just give you guys a buff. I feel like it doesn't really do much when it comes to this build, so that's why I'm running the Golan mask. But of course, you guys can run the vial, or you guys can run the vial mask and put the Golan on the bottom and then run the chest piece and get rid of the wyvern. But that's just how I have it set up. So if you guys like this build, and if you are new to the game, and if you want to make something that's viable and will get you through NPCs quick, this is the build for you. So let's go to the shooting range. Let's put this on very hard. There you go. Let's reset that. Hit the capacitor again. Let's reset that. Drop the cam. So 555, sorry. 555k burn damage. It's a lot, guys. That is a lot. So now let me show you guys the damage with the buff, with the perpetration buff. There you go, we have the buff. We got 631. So 631 is the damage with perpetration. So we did gain a little bit more damage. So now let me do it with, here, let me just get this bug out. There you go. Got the bug out. Let's get perpetration, and now let's do the EMP burn. Burn sticky, I should say. EMP. I'm so tired, guys. I apologize. There you go. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much the Eclipse build. Now, base damage is around 559, so almost 600k. But it still kills NPCs. Look how fast that's going. So, that is my PvE PvP status effect build. So, guys, the last and final build I have for you is this. It's a Obliterate AR build. So we are running the technician specialization on this build because we want to get that flatline out. Guys, Obliterate and flatline is so fucking broken in the DZ and in PvE. We have a carbine 7 with flatline. Now you want to run with a gun that has high RPM. I mean, the FAL does not have high RPM. I should rephrase that. You want to run a gun that has 650 to 700 rate of fire. So that's why the FAL is what we are running. And the FAL is the hardest hitting gun in the game, aside from Kingbreaker. But that's what makes this build fucking stupid strong. Obliterate and flatline with Vigilance is just crazy. The damage is insane. Now, the FAL, of course, you guys want to run damage to targets out of cover on all of your guns with, you're having crit damage, crit chance on every other piece. So, we do have a slight multiplicative damage on this build, not too much. We have flatline, we have the contractors, and the fox prayers. That's where the multiplicative damage comes from. Now, we would get more multiplicative damage if we ran spotter, but it's okay because this build still shreds like a truck. So, let's get on with it. So, fox prayers, of course, you guys want to run that for that it is the best in slot for damage, and so is the Contractor's Gloves. So for the skills, we are running the Striker Drone and the Decoy. Now the Decoy is what I am going to be using on this build in a team. When I'm not in the team, I would probably just run a pulse just to make sure my team and myself doesn't get flanked. So now that's the build, guys. So let me show you guys what the build can do. So there you go. As you guys can see, we have a pulse 650. Oh, it's just retarded, guys. Look at this. 700k, and it goes up to even to 800. 1 million, guys, with Obliterate and Flatline. That shit is insane. So that is the build. Now let me show you guys with the Carbine 7. There you go. That is the damage with the Carbine 7. 670 something is the highest you get. Look at that. Look how fast that shit is. 842, guys, to the head. 842, 751 to 842. So, guys, that is the builds that I have for you in TU15 so far. I want to thank you guys for taking the time out your day to come and show me support on the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, subscribe down below. And if you guys want to comment anything else you guys want to see on the division, you guys can, and I will bring it to you. So yeah, guys, Capone, UGW out.